We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bardic Inspiration. This is Dungeons and Dragons in Shakespearean Style. I am your Dungeon Master, Adam Hembry. Tonight, we are doing something a little bit different. It is the Spoopy season. And this is the first of our Halloween Witchy One-Shots. Fair is foul. So I do not have the usual crew from the Magical Cane Band or from the Headless Marys. They are on a break for the next 2 weeks while we do these Witchy One-Shots. And so instead, with me tonight, I have Brenna, Catherine, Melissa, and Pedro, who are going to be playing witches. Yes. Yes. We are able to do this because of the incredible homebrew Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition witch class designed by Wallrock Homebrew, who the information for which is in the link below in the video description right now. We've also got the image of the beautiful cover art presented right there in the frame. Please do check it out. I cannot gush enough about how good it is. I'm so excited. I've been meaning, bless you. I've been meaning to get all of us from Bardic Inspiration to play with these for so long. I probably bought this about a year ago, and now it's finally happening. So here we go. This week is Fair is Foul, and we are going to meet our witches en route to a very special night. It is the 16th of the month of Peas Blossom in the year 1600 as the common calendars reckon it. Our witches are walking down separate paths, Xander and Mara walking together, but Mary Kay and Esther on different roads. But all three of these roads lead to one place, a place in a strange location in the province, the Thaindom of Macheath, part of the nation of Eston. The nation of Macheath is a cold northern clime, bordered on one side by the Lower Daggers mountain ranges. It is part of the last bulwark of the Eston Federation, protecting it from Argesh, a nation to the north. And that border has been defined by clashes and skirmishes between soldiers for generations beyond memory. So somewhere in the cold heaths of Macheath, there is a strange crossroads of these three roads. And our witches are going there for a purpose. Every year at this time, during the darkest night between two full moons, which qualify as a blue moon, witches convene at this crossroads. When they do, it is to confront a very particular threat, a strange miasma, an omnipresent mist that generates here spontaneously at the same time each year. And each year, a new crop of witches must visit it. None may go twice. And when they do, they have a simple task that is nonetheless not easy. They must accede to the demands of the mist. They must do what it requests, give it what it desires, because if they do not, untold horrors await the lands wherever the crossroads may be found. So, let us find ourselves on this dark, unseasonably cold, damp spring night, the 16th of Peas Blossom. Imagine, if you will, that you are in the eyes of a crow flying overhead and looking down at the various roads that our witches walk upon. Let's look first at the road that is shared by Xander and Mara. What would our crow's eye see, Xander, when they look at you?
A goblin wrapped in raggedy cloak that goes down to the ground, and a hood that isn't quite black and isn't quite brown and kind of blends into the world around, and an old withered face and knotty fingers coming out of the cloak in a goblin form. And Tony the cat walking like he owns the world up ahead, trying to fill up all the silence.
And what would our crow see when looking at Mara, Brenna?
They would see a very tall half elf, very pale with kind of bluish skin and long silver white hair. And she's wearing dark green and has a leather strap across her chest, so that on her left shoulder can perch her familiar, which is an owl called Filigree. And as she walks, she has a small skip in her step. And every now and again, she'll reach deep into her pocket and pull out a piece of bread or cheese that she'll feed to Filigree as she goes and enjoy the night there.
And Filigree gladly accepts each treat, on occasion counting to himself as he cracks the hard shell of a nut or slurps down the bit of cheese or bread. 1, 2, 3. Swallowing it. Always 3.
Mara will reach up and then just run her finger under his feathers in his ear.
Little fluff of the feathers of the neck. On a road across the way, just faintly coming into view, there strides Esther. Pedro, tell us about what our crow might see looking down at Esther as she walks.
They would see a human wearing plain clothes and beige overalls, walking with a big knapsack full of bread rolls on her shoulder. And as she walks, she has moments where she's striding confidently, and then just moments where she stops and then kind of zips as if to shake something away from her pack. But this crow would not be able to see what that is.
Sure. Keen eye to the crow may be, not all things are clear to see. And winging our way leftward to the last road that is converging upon this strange triple crossroads, we would see the form of Mary Kay. Mel, tell us about Mary Kay.
Mary Kay, in her current form, has long, thick, luscious red hair that is currently pinned up in like a very intricate updo. It's coiffed. A lot of effort has put into it. She's wearing very fine, meticulous robes. And she walks with a very quick, short step. And she is trailing behind her a little, like proto suitcase on little wooden wheels. And as she carries it behind her, there's like a little tink, tink, tink from it.
The road is bumpy. There's a lot of tinks. It takes some care to keep that smooth. All right. 1 by 1 and 2 by 2 for some of you, you will converge with suspiciously perfect timing. The road ahead is difficult to see, but in the faint starlight of the newly fallen night, you can see your companions, whom you have worked with many times before. And as the road separated you, it has now brought you back together again for a common purpose. As you see each other approaching, for the moment, all seems calm. But there is the beginning, the faintest of wisps of a fog rolling in. And it's not rolling in from the west like it might usually do. It seems to be moving slowly along the ground from all directions. And every minute that passes takes more meters of visibility from you, if you care to pay attention. But for now, you see each other, perhaps the first time in a while. So I'll turn it over to you, our witches and their familiars. What do you do when you finally see each other?
Good eve, Mary Kay, Esther.
Mary Kay casts a minor illusion that is sparkles, and she goes, "Well, hello. How art thou, sisters?"
An
Yeah,
entrance.
I'm good. Oh, I'm so good. Oh, Mary, you trying to talk? Okay.
That's Tony, I presume.
It's a pleasure to speak at the same time as you, Tony. Oh, good Mary Kay, that entrance has gotten only better since I last saw it.
Oh, why, Mara, you do flatter, I thank thee heartily. And Clyde sends his love, he's asleep in the case.
Of course.
Esther, are you gonna grace us with your voice?
My voice is the same as it always has been. It's
Oh,
nice
so
to see you all
beautiful.
again. Would anyone care for some bread?
Oh, yes, thank you.
I'm in the hopes that our challenge would involve feeding this beast that I presume is hungry, and then I can return to my regular life as quickly as possible.
Esther,
And then Esther starts handing out bread to everyone.
Esther,
Aye.
is your brain full of empty space? When has such creature ever been succeeded with bread rolls?
Xander, since last we spoke, I have not gained any further insight on what these creatures are capable of at all.
Xander, you have a very high passive perception. Something you might notice out of the corner of your eye is that there are visual echoes of the sparks that Mary Kay produced, those sparkles. And it's faint at first, but it's omnipresent. They seem to be lightly glowing in the mist at intervals to left and right. The mist is closer now.
And I do not say this as an affront to you, Xander. I know you enjoy playing with Damien, and Esther furiously walks up to Mara, and from near Mara's treat pack just grabs a slow loris by its neck and just throws it into the field.
For anyone watching who hasn't yet, please Google Slow Loris, Loris. You just simply must.
Mara, I apologize.
Oh, tis no harm done by it. I've more than enough. I could feel agree. But what stealthy and slow Loris thou hast.
He never stops.
And indeed, moving slowly but with purpose, Damien is creeping back across the field, straight towards Esther.
He makes deep eye contact with everyone as he's walking, with his like big puppy dog eyes.
So, will the fog just give us a sign like a lightning bolt and tell us which way to go? Anyone?
Does the fog not speak?
Does the fog not speak? Someone has, just now. Someone who has not been there, you're certain. And yet, there they are. Standing in the dead center of the crossroads, there is a woman, human in appearance, about middle-aged, slightly graying hair around her temples, which long locks hang down in kind of unruly curls around her shoulders. She has dark brown eyes. She looks at each of you in turn.
Good even.
Good even. You have come. Good.
Art thou, perchance, hungry?
I know many hungers. You have come. Now, heed, if you will, the charge I have to give thee. The mist, which has been flirting with the edges of the center of this crossroads, suddenly doubles, triples in volume. It is no longer faint vapors along the ground creeping through the gnarled branches of trees, but swelling like billows, like cumulus clouds on the ground, but a kind of slate gray. Interspersed in the folds of that mist, there are shimmers of light, faint whites, but also still those sparkles, reflected and refracted, forming shapes. Some shapes that move, but then disappear.
Tony fluffs up all his hair and looks like as big as possible and like stands in front of Esther.
Which is probably precisely when Xander and then the rest of you would notice that the woman standing before you is not alone. For standing to her left is a brilliant, pure white cat, a Maine Coon, large, very large, even for that large breed, with flowing, fluffy hair and deep, dark black eyes. It is nuzzling up against the lady's shin and then looking at each of you in turn. On the lady's shoulder, there is a raven, ruby red in its plumage. It is staring straight ahead, as though it's something none of you can see. And sitting sedately to the right of the woman is a large black dog. She speaks again. Attend, you walkers of the night, and heed what dances in the light. For you shall win most fateful boons for what you work between these moons. And I, the patron of your arts, shall pluck the spear that binds your hearts. 3 roads do find this hallowed ground. 3 fates shall soon be hither found. 3 gifts will send this mist away and keep its dreams from light of day. 1 hand freely given. 1 love newly lost. 1 destiny dearly bought. The greatest gift, the greatest cost. The mist doth crave each rise and fall, and it will answer if you call. And that echoes in the mist. Call, 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 call. So peace to all. My charm is done. Your rite completes with rising sun. The cat screeches. The raven cries. And the dog lets out a baleful howl. And then the mist takes them and disperses again. And you are alone. You can barely make out the roads leading away from the crossroads now. The mist has fully subsumed all but within a few meters of you.
Esther,
Hi.
how much do they love baking?
I believe it's my life calling. Why?
So if we were to remove your hand, your destiny would change and your love would be lost.
Indeed, but Xander, I wish that is the life I wish to return to after tonight.
And yet if this fog takes over the land, that life will not be available for you.
Aye, but perhaps, in fact, and Esther pulls out a big bread roll and then takes a bunch of tiny bread rolls and sticks them at the end to look like a hand. And she's like, would this hand suffice?
As that silence hangs in the air, you can hear the sound of creaking wheels. And soft clip-clop of hoof prints in the dirt. You cannot see them, but Xander, perhaps you first, and then the rest, would see a dim glow from down one of the roads ahead, slowly, painfully slowly, creaking forward, bobbing lightly up and down. Sounds like a cart is approaching.
Perhaps you will be spared, Esther. But if this night is nearly to pass, and we have not fulfilled it any other way, I will kill you.
I never liked you, Xander.
What about me? Did you like me? I like me. I like you.
Tony, I do not understand how thou puttest up with Xander.
I could be your familiar.
Oh, I would like that very much.
I would like that very much. Enough! The cart is coming.
So
Mara, Mary Kay, your silence speaks volumes.
Oh, it's rude to interrupt. And I would wish to hear what Esther had to say to your proposition. And she's answered most interestingly.
Oh, if thou must know mine thoughts, I did think she answered it not at all.
Shall we wait in the shadows for the cart to pass? Does thou think it's human or another spirit from the fog coming to attack, friend or foe?
From the way that we did all arrive at the same time can hardly be by accident. I think we stop it and ask.
I agree.
the cart draws nearer. Are you staying in the center of the crossroads to await it?
Mara's just going to turn and take a couple of steps towards it and put her hand up.
All right. The cart will come to a stop, but rather alarmingly late. It seems whoever is driving it and the great ox that is pulling it could not see you until they were almost upon you. The ox snorts loudly and then rears back slightly before stopping. And then you hear a voice coming from just near that bobbing lantern light. Oh, what be that, Hubert? Why have you pulled up so?
Good gentle,
Oh,
'tis we who have stopped your passage. Would thou care to come down and speak to us a while?
oh, 'tis a foul night, I knew it. Hubert, bless us. Who are you thither?
Well,
Say
none that thou shouldst be calling foul. Why, 'tis rude indeed.
Stepping down from the cart in a huff of nervous energy is a dwarven man with brilliant red hair pulled into braids and a beard as well. He is dressed humbly, but as neatly as he can muster. And the cart you can just now get a better look at. It is clearly a long-serving piece of equipment that has been repaired many times. The yoke that this ox is using to pull the cart is likewise very old and seems rather haphazardly fixed. It is, however, painted jet black and has the aspect of what all of you would recognize as a kind of funeral carriage, like an ox-drawn hearse. And the dwarven man steps forward, but will not leave the circle of light, and is still behaving as though he cannot see you. He seems to be sort of looking right around where Mara is, but appears to be almost blind to whatever is ahead of him, other than his cart and Hubert, the ox, who's next to him. He takes out a little club that he seems to carry with him and kind of holds it out and is like, "Unfold yourselves. Why, there be brigands upon this road. I wish I were not on it of a night."
Fear us not, good sir. I will approach thee, so thou canst see me better. But do not be afeared when thou see me come from the mist. And she walks forward.
and he jumps a mile in spite of your warning not to be afraid. And at this point, the rest of you can very clearly see him, as well as his cart and his ox. In fact, your eyes seem to be growing accustomed to the mist around you. It does not seem to be posing the same kinds of obscurity that it is to him. Now, the mist still does obscure the woods around and many of the trees beyond, but you're able to see better than you were. Right then, you that do yourself Mara called, what wish you of me?
We wish to know, why art thou on such a dark night travelling down such pretentious roads? You yourself mentioned of the kind of eve that we are in. Why art thou travelling?
Oh, 'tis on strict city business I have come, and a matter of great import, if you must know.
I must.
Why? The dead must be interred, and their rites must be seen to. My cargo must be buried and anointed properly, and I must, to its home, take it hither. I were taken with ill fortune some leagues back, and that is why I must be lately come past my mark. Press me on it no further. Just let me pass. I beg you, let me pass.
Art thou expected by anyone? Now arrives, do you have to do the job yourself?
So I am, by my
You did
master.
not mean to say that to check whether or not.
There are many who do expect me and will be marking my absence and my lateness. So,
Well, I
please.
say, Mar,
oh,
if thou didst plan to frighten the man half to death, thou hast succeeded.
Not quite.
how many more of you are there in this mist? How many have you me surrounded? Hubert, gird yourself. Your horns are sharp. Use them.
Damien is on top of Hubert, eating nits off of Hubert's back.
Hubert shudders, and the dwarven man turns. Hubert, what is it? Keep your wits about you. They could be close.
Oh, I apologize for my beast behavior. We come in peace, good gentle. I am aware that this must be a staggering, surprising night for thee. We are here to help.
At the sound of your voice, Esther, some straw seems to have broken in this man's back, and he jumps again, slamming into Hubert's flank. Hubert riles slightly and then begins to truck forward several steps towards you, Mara. Damien clings on for dear life onto the side, and the lantern light is bobbing back and forth. All right, then. Say why it is you've truly come. Oh, Malcolm, what have you got yourself into here? True it is, spirits of the night or brigands have come from the daggers. Oh, what did your gaffer say?
We are not brigands, but we are tasked with solving an unholy riddle, and we believe that thou art a part of this riddle in some way.
Malcolm, do you have bodies that have left their souls behind in your wagon?
Is my solemn duty to bear hence one not long taken from this mortal world. Aye, this carriage of mine doth his carriage carry. And such carriage is carried by a coffin here in this carriage, and it is my charge to carry it thus.
And indeed, what courage it doth take to carry such a carriage.
Oh, thank you. I fear it does. I fear it did for the three of us that did have it as our charge.
The three of you.
So it were, but now it is only two. Oh, Hubert. Oh, Hubert.
What became of the others?
Other. Why other? For Hubert and I be two, but once this yoke, this uncompleted thing, why it is a bastard yoke, not the one that I did make with mine own hands, but adopted from the village of Aberlin, hither past. When I my own yoke did have to retire, it that did once command two great oxen, Hubert and Schubert. I thought I would not e'er say that name with lamentation, so. And at the name of Schubert, Hubert snuffs and looks to the right. Someone that is not there.
How long ago did this pass?
Why, not but several hours. I were on my way, and I were to make my way home before sundown, before this awful mist. But I must stop, get my new yoke for pulling, and see to it that Schubert's proper sent off from this world. So I have. So we did.
Dost thou not think, Malcolm, that a most proper send-off for a creature who is so dearly loved by thee is one that will save the lives of many, and one that will go down in legend, history, so that none e'er in these parts could live longer without knowing Schubert's name? Does that not sound good?
What tales do you tell, stranger in the dark? What legend?
Well, these mists, good Malcolm, as thou dost see, or not see, for they are very most thick, holds within it a creature who will not be satisfied unless he is given such a gift so beloved by those still living.
Mara, as you say this, you feel a strange sensation. A cold, creeping dampness up your forearms, your shoulders to the back of your neck and skull. When you move your fingers in involuntary response to that shiver, tendrils of mist move. When you say legend, creature, those words echo. Legend, 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 creature, creature, creature. And a stark form in the mist moves in a swirl around you, and Malcolm quails. Seeing and hearing some of this, his eyes aren't tracking it, but you can see the awareness take him. And Hubert begins to start a backward move, and he grabs onto him. Say what it is you would. What unhallowed things dwell within these mists? Oh.
I would have Schubert. And he would do great things, even after death. And I would have you travel home and safely get there.
Hubert. You would have Hubert. All of you can hear in the mist. Schubert. Schubert. Mary Kay. For a moment, the action beside you ceases as though it does not exist. And in the mist to your right, blue fire flickers. And that fire resolves itself into a shape. An ox cart drawn by two great oxen. Malcolm sitting at its side. One oxen stumbles, favoring one hoof. The fire resolves into a different shape. Malcolm alone with one oxen, staring at its hoof, staring up at its big brown eyes, weeping. And then Malcolm, standing alone before a great mound, patting another oxen on the side. But in Malcolm's hand is a single great horn, and that horn gleams bright white in the firelight. Then the fire fades, and everything returns around you as though no time at all has passed. What do you mean of Schubert? Why, I have buried him, hither past. You can want nothing good of him. Oh, I feel his loss. He were our great friend. I did love him.
Do you have nothing of him?
Strange small voice in the dark. How could you ask
I
such
am
a thing?
huge.
Huh?
I am not a small voice, I am huge. I tower over thee.
Xander, you want that to be true.
No. I want this man to fear insulting me, calling my voice small.
You feel something in the soles of your feet, rising up your calves and thighs. Mist condenses thickly around you. Malcolm's eyes widen, looking up 5 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet into the air, dropping down to the ground and looking up in horror. You can't see it around you, but for a moment you can see yourself in his eyes. You are enormous, towering, ogre-sized, but in your form, looking down with eyes burning with green flame. And then the mist subsides. You are back as you were. What then? He goes to the back of his cart and grabs something. Walks forward, holding it close to his chest. One great ox horn. How could you have known? What is this? Who are you? Who can speak what only mine eyes have known? Shapes in the dark. It is all I have of him. All I have of that great love. It were to be a token.
If thou wouldst close thine eyes, Malcolm, wouldst thou forget him? Would his image be gone from your mind? When you sleep, do you not dream of him? Would he be gone forever?
Nay, I already do him see when I close mine eyes.
Then that horn is not all that is left of him, and that horn will not keep him with you any longer than thine own memories already will.
He wrings his hands against it, and Mary Kay, to your eyes, the horn gleams blue-white. Does not seem to burn him. His heart gleams through his chest, and you can see it, Mary Kay. You can see, rather than feel, that intensity, the longing, the love, grief. It taints the mist around him. He holds it out. Nay. Oh, I do wish for such dreams. Then he hands it to you, Xander.
Esther, perhaps throw him a bun.
Oh, sorry. I'm so entranced by this mist and how big thou has gotten. Please, and Esther breaks off a finger off of the bread hand and slaps away Damien trying to reach for it and gives it to Malcolm.
Damien tumbles off to the side and disappears into the midst. But you could swear, Esther, for a moment, looming large in the mist behind the carriage, two great smoky eyes. And then it vanishes. Make a persuasion check, Esther.
Stats. Persuasion.
Stats. Good time to thank Matt Day, our technomancer, for creating Rollcast. 12. That's including your persuasion modifier, I presume?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Malcolm reaches out and slowly takes the bread. Mary Kay, where once you saw that blue flaming in his heart, you now see a different light, a red light, faintly shimmering in the mist, touching his fingers where that bread touches him, moving, illuminating the nerves of his body, almost in faint relief against the mist, until it hits his heart. And that blue becomes violet with the combination. I think me I am hungered. Strange. He takes the bite and chews.
Sisters, will we let him be? Or shall we see if he will give us the dead man's hand from the back? I feel that would be too simple, and we could let him be, and yet...
I would like to minimize casualties and harm as much as possible.
Well, Esther, do you include the already deceased in that count?
No.
Then I think, Xander, thou hast a good idea, perhaps.
Malcolm seems to collect himself, shake his head. Light at the center of his chest, Mary Kay, has gone out. I do feel lighter. Strange. Wondrous strange.
I take that as a great compliment of my baking skills.
I thank thee, Esther, were it.
Indeed. Wouldst thou like more?
Nay, I think I am satisfied. Wilt thou permit Hubert and I to pass? We've miles yet to go.
Well, indeed, we must not keep thee long, but if thou hast a moment, I do have a product here that I think could help greatly with thy ruddy cheeks there.
As
Mary
if
Kay.
on cue, when you say product, a little flap in the side of your proto suitcase pops down, and a lithe, sinuous form wiggles out, and almost like a swirl of magic itself, spirals around your figure and then lands on either side of your shoulders like a fine stole, and then looks up. It is a fabulous looking ferret, I presume.
Well, Clyde, so kind of you to introduce yourself finally.
I do beg all of your humble pardons. I have just been retiring for the evening after a great day of industry, and I do hope that I might mind services offered to this fine-looking gentleman.
Well, Clyde, this man is in a bit of a hurry, so no time for flattery. Why don't we get us on here over to the front of the cart and have a talk about products? And Mary Kay winks at Xander.
Okay. Malcolm is befuddled by this, staring at the ferret and at you. It's, what mean you products? What? If you're attempting to distract him, you can make a persuasion check, I would say, if this means you're attempting to do, and you can do so with advantage because Clyde is helping you, making himself as
very persuasive.
so the two, you can roll twice and take the higher with your persuasion modifier. And Clyde is going to. Let's see how this goes for a second. Okay, one more go. One more go. Okay.
Ooh.
Look at what a journey.
Yeah.
Okay, 14. So Clyde is going to, light as anything, skitter off your shoulders and down your arm in a practice gesture to leap onto Hubert, whom he kind of affectionately nuzzles on the back of his head, and then skitters down to the end and sort of stands up in front of Malcolm and does that thing that ferrets and weasels do when they sit up and they kind of like rub their hands together. And then he turns to the side and like makes his body a U shape and like scuttles back and forth in like a little dance and says, "Wilt thou not be wowed and amazed? Why, I think that your eyes will soon be glazed by the incredible product that shall soon be offered by my fine associate this day, the one, the only, Miss Mary Kay." Malcolm is fully distracted. So whatever it is you'd like to show him, you can begin to do so. Xander, I
Mary
believe you
Kay
were
just starts like rubbing salves on his face.
Okay, as this is happening, what are Xander, Mara, and Esther et al. Getting up to?
Xander is going to the coffin and opening it.
Okay. Are you attempting to do so without being detected? Don't care about silence. Okay. Esther, you're about to say something.
No, sorry. I help Xander take the presumably the body out of the coffin.
Okay. Mara, you're getting up to anything?
Mara hasn't seen Mary Kay do this for a while, and she's pretty confident that Xander and Esther can do whatever they want to do, so she's going to watch Mary Kay.
Please tell me that you replace the hand with the bread hand. That's what happens in my mind.
Okay, so Mary Kay, you can see this unfolding. It is up to you how you choose to keep your charge distracted, because if noises are going to happen, they're going to be heard. So when doing these salves and stuff like that you're pitching, how does Mary Kay going to try to keep Malcolm's attention while the next few sort of rounds of events happen?
Well, Mary Kay's sales techniques involve a few strategies, mainly distract, confuse, and cleavage. So using some combination of the three, she will retain his attention, hopefully.
Okay. In that case, you will do your best. Esther and Xander, if you're both attempting to get this coffin open, you will find that it is locked. Now you can attempt to try to break or pick that lock, or use some other means to get the coffin open, but you'll realize that shortly. So, what would you like to do about that?
Xander, could we simply throw the coffin into the mist?
Esther, I do believe this is a fool man's errand. If we steal the hand, it is not freely given and cannot satisfy the mist. We should send this man on his way, but Mary Kay seems to be enjoying herself. Do you ever enjoy yourself, Esther?
I normally do. Today is the first day in a long time in which I have not.
Would you like a hand massage?
No.
Shall we pull this coffin off this cart? I could use a thorn whip or such, but I still feel this body is not ours to take, and yet it is in front of us. So perhaps, for safety's sake, we shall take the coffin and lay it aside in case we need it.
I believe that is a good point of action.
Are you going to remove this coffin from this cart now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. How would you like to do that? You just want to shove it off?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't need to roll for that. It is going to move. With both of you doing it, it is not quite so heavy that it requires a real feat of strength. However, it does make an extremely loud noise. And Mary Kay, as you are in the midst of explaining something about one of these salves, you are going to be loudly interrupted. Whoop! Crack! There is a sound as the coffin creaks over the edge of this cart, which has an open back, and collapses against the ground. Hubert snorts loudly, making a kind of grunt, and Malcolm shakes his head and turns around and is like, "Oi then! What have you done? Oh, what have you done? Oh," and then he immediately turns away from you and comes running around to the side of the cart. "What is the meaning of this?"
We shall be taking the dead. And if
Nay.
he does not wish to join him, you should leave.
Make an intimidation check, Ender.
If he does not choose to believe me, that is his prerogative.
Yep, you will need to roll to find out whether he does.
I do not like this. I'm getting there. There we are.
Hey.
Pretty spooky you are. At a 21.
Does Malcolm still see Xander as a 10-foot tall smoke giant?
Malcolm does
No.
not. So that happened pretty quickly as like just a first move. And it didn't happen again this time. Malcolm steps back and then just crumples to the ground. "Why must you do this? You have taken my Schubert. And now I feel empty."
Have we taken your destiny?
"No! You've taken my job! I can't return with no coffin. I didn't want to return with no horn of Schubert's. You are taking everything I have, and now you threat to take my person if I do not let you. Well, take it. Well, take it.
Oh.
What have I then?"
Esther takes her hands out of her pockets and she's like, I do hate doing this. And Esther casts Calm Emotions on Malcolm.
Oh.
Specifically to stop being hostile towards us.
Makes sense. Now, I believe Calm Emotions has an area of effect, doesn't it?
Oh, goodness.
Each
60
humanoid in a 20-foot radius centered on a point you choose within range. So you can attempt to do so. What does it look like when Esther casts the spell? We haven't seen Esther cast a spell yet.
She's just taking out her hands and mumbling something under her breath that's inaudible. But as she's mumbling, Damien just goes, and Esther was like mumble, shut up, mumble, shut up. And that's how she casts spells.
Several things happen. First, every time Damien a new sort of iteration or echo of that sound begins to move in the mist. Until it is omnipresent. All of you can hear this loudly, louder than Esther's actual voice. And then the mist moves. Your spell takes effect. However, it does so differently than you anticipated. Esther, what is your spell save DC?
11.
Okay. Here is poor Malcolm. Malcolm fails. However, when you point and choose your area for the spell to go in that quivering mist, trying to center your spell 20 feet roughly away, so only Malcolm is hit, you see the magic leave your hands. And that doesn't usually happen with this spell. The mist clings to your hands like strings on a puppet, tendrils of spider web. And the magic waves out around, totally subsuming poor Malcolm, who sits still and quiet and stares blankly forward, utterly dejected, but no longer in a heightened state of emotion. But then that magic moves into the rest of the mist, and weaving like tendrils around everywhere. Esther, you see the color of it moving. And I need the rest of you to make a charisma saving throw for me, please. Okay, Mara succeeds. Xander succeeds. Mary Kay fails. Now, the familiars who are present all perk up. Filigree on your shoulder, Mara ruffles his feathers slightly and says, I say. Next to you, Mary Kay. Clyde, on the other hand, turns and stares at you. His eyes go wide, and for a moment, you can see in them sparks. And then they fade. And you feel as though you are in a hot bath, and your muscles relax as though they have been just massaged by a world-class masseuse.
Mary Kay goes, "What? I do think that juniper balm is kicking in." At its most relaxing Jackson, is it not?
Xander and Mara, you succeeded on your saves. So tell me, Xander, what was it you were feeling just before this spell was cast? I can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
I was feeling indecisive.
If you had to pick one of the sort of core emotions, angry, afraid, sad, joyful, loving.
Oh, like generous. I was thinking about making a tiny hut for him so he could go lie down in there, and if you don't need the dead body, he could take it in the morning.
Is that what you were thinking as you threatened to murder him? Is that what you were feeling?
Well, I didn't threaten to murder him. I told him to leave.
You definitely said you would murder him if he didn't leave.
Yeah, otherwise how would you get people to leave?
So you didn't feel angry?
But
All right. Xander, you feel happy. A surge, a rush of warmth and delight. Why, it's like you've just bitten into your favorite food. Like you've just been surprised by something terrible happening to your worst enemy. Like you just won a bunch of gold in a gambling match. It is just a rush of intense joy. Mara, you were watching Mary Kay at her work. You were listening to all this unfurl. What was Mara's basic emotional state at that point?
I think because she was definitely feeling joy with Mary Kay, but I think she would have changed when the interaction between Xander and Malcolm. So she's feeling pity or sadness.
Yeah. It was a bit of good-natured pity. Just, this poor guy. He crumpled to the ground. Come on, get up, man. And then the bottom falls out of that feeling. Just, it's as though you're there with him. What if you lost filigree? Like forever. Like not just pop back to the material plane, but like forever. And what if you didn't have your coven? What if you lost your memory of your coven and woke up again just like that day so long ago when you couldn't remember anything before they found you?
Mara's feet fall out from underneath her and she just collapses in the floor up to the ground. She can't even like get the energy up to lift her head from her hands and just starts weeping.
Esther, this is all befalling around you. Malcolm, however, is sitting in front of you, stoic, staring forward, looking up at you eventually, Esther, and says, "Well, do what you must. I have done."
Indeed you have, my good fellow, and we thank you for thine service, and we suggest that now would be a good time to leave. For as you can see, things have grown quite chaotic here.
I will do
Unless
so.
he wants to stay for a dibble, who knows what will befall you? Good fortune could come upon these lands at any moment.
Only to be taken away in an instant. Just the glimmer of joy before your eyes, snuffed out like a candle in front of you on a wet and windy night. Gone before.
If I cast a tiny hut, your candle will not be blown out, and we could sit and survive and party.
Even that only lasts for 8 hours. And taste 8 hours of joy for the rest of your life of nothing but pain.
And yet 8 hours of pleasure people would speak of forever.
Mary Kay really slowly takes some juniper salve and just like touches both of them with it. Well, thou shouldst just have some. This sample's on me there.
And I
Damien,
to this and have to buy it for the rest of my life.
Damien is wheezing. He is cackling so loudly.
Okay,
The mist
can I
is
just
echoing
say-
it.
I started this out feeling bad for Damien, but now I also hate him. I was on his side, but he's terrible.
The mist is loving Damien. Every time Damien gives one of those horrible wheezing, cackling laughs, the mist echoes it, and those big, baleful eyes are everywhere, forming and unforming, filled with the sparkles from Mary Kay's illusion before, looking, closing, leaving.
Ah, let us give him his dead body if it makes him sad. It is like a birthday gift.
I do hope you mean that. I am charged with a duty and must fulfill it.
Aye,
Well,
where are they off to? Shall we come with?
No, Malcolm, thou must leave immediately. I'm afraid, for I believe vile magics are at work.
Please come not with me. I never wish to see any of you again.
I know.
Well-
Help me to put the coffin back on your.
I will do this. And with a practiced hand, he comes over to you and just grabs a handle, grabs onto the corner, and just and he's got quite a sturdy frame.
Well, Malcolm, if thou art to be going off, then by all means thou must leave, but forget not that thou hast sampled products, and thou dost owe me. Now I can see that thou art distraught, so I will give thee a discount.
Mary Kay, something happens when you say those words. You owe me. He looks up. When they make eye contact, any of you who happen to look for a moment will see a glimmer pass through the mist between them. And those Damien Sloloris laughs, silence. Dead silence. Well then, what is it that you are owed?
Well, let's see here. I put the juniper balm on you. I did a little rouge on those cheeks. And, well, thou art in need of some good moisturizing, so I did that to begin with. I'd say all up, probably 3 silver pieces is all.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Oh no, I lost her. Where'd she go?
Ara,
Yes.
I just realised if we open him up, I can read his entrails and we can get some more guidance.
Do not wish to see clearly my fate. I'll open up firsthand.
You can roll one more time, Mary Kay, because you have advantage.
That's right. Well, I would say, Xander, if we need any entrails to read, might I suggest we slice Damien open?
I second that opinion. That
18. As you say, 3 silvers. The mist silvers. And his hand reaches up. In it, 3 gleaming, fresh silver pieces. There you are. The price paid. The debt restored. He hands it to you.
Well, there's no need to be so dramatic about it, but I thank thee heartily.
Malcolm gets back up onto the cart and is ready to get Hubert going if you do not obstruct his path. Are you going to let him go? I must away now to ponder this, the strangest and most worstest of my days. and the craft scuttles off. And as soon as it leaves the circle of the mist, you can only see the bobbing lantern light, and then that tune is swallowed up.
This is my coven. We have got one of the things asked of us.
What? Thou didst get the hand after all?
Nay, it was not a hand freely given from a dead body.
What didst thou get then?
The horn.
Oh, indeed, I did forget about that part.
Do you wish me to make you a memory spell?
Well, if it doesn't cost nothing, then all right.
In that silence that befalls as you contemplate this memory spell, a familiar sound from a different road begins to approach. Different, however, deeper. For those of you with trained ears for this sort of thing, perhaps Xander and Mary Kay especially, it sounds like money. It's the sound of a fine, nicer carriage, something that has been well maintained and has many wheels, the sounds of more than one set of clopping hooves. And then ahead through the mist, multiple lights, not flickering lanterns, but stationary, persistent lights. And then several more that are not stationary, but rather moving in lazy circles and waves, pinks, ambers, even blues. From the road ahead, there comes a large, finely appointed carriage that is extended, longer than the usual sort. And that carriage has many colored paints and gold enameled printed letters stenciled along its side. There are two fine steeds at the front, one black and one dappled gray. The gold stenciled letters on the side of this great carriage say in sparkling and slightly shifting glittery letters in the dancing lights, Elaine's Eclectiques. In the front seat is a hooded figure who is like a medium human size, wearing a kind of dark cloak and apparently like driver's or rider's gloves, holding reins, and face shrouded by the low-hanging hood. The horses are clip-clopping along at a reasonable pace, and the carriage is about to arrive at the center of the crossroads. How would you like to position yourselves?
Clyde, I smell money. Get in the case and shine up the good stuff.
Right you are, right as rain. And then Clyde's gonna serpentine clitter claw without putting even the first mark on your clothes, however, and getting into the suitcase. And you can hear a ting, 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 ting. What do the rest of you do?
Tony's a big chicken. He talks a lot except for when anything's around, and so is just hiding in like the bushes. Xander is standing in the middle of the road, making sure that the cart can't go around her.
Esther says, "Sisters, I apologize for the effects of that spell. I haven't cast a spell in many years, and I appears to have backfired in ways I couldn't comprehend."
Speaking of, Xander and Mara, you feel the effects of that strange surge in emotion, which you may not even thought of as spell effects, just feelings. They've subsided. You have a sort of normal emotional state at this point, comparatively, but you have vivid memories of whatever you felt just then.
Esther, no need to apologize. The joy in my heart was delicious.
It's always good to learn one thing about oneself. Mara is going to walk and stand behind Mary Kay, and she's just gonna. But she's invited Filigree to stand on her hand, and she's just gonna like assist him.
Okay. And are the two of you standing with Xander in the center of the crossroads, or are you off to the side?
Esther's gonna stand to be visible by the carriage.
Okay.
She's gonna hail it, essentially.
Right. As before, the carriage comes clopping along, and then alarmingly close, the horses begin to rear and actually fully jump and stand to come to a skidding stop in front of you, as they did not know you were there until they were almost upon you. And they whine loud and shrilly, and then sputter and stomp and stamp, their lips flaring and eyes widen looking at you, and they're trying to step backwards, but they can't because of the burden of the cart behind them. It only barely moves with that kind of leverage. There is a ruckus from the carriage. All of a sudden, you can hear a loud clanging and crashing, and a sound that sounds like lots of like metallic plates and glassware or something falling over and over and clanging. And then loud lamentations by an almost unintelligible voice from within. The figure in the front is silent, but you can hear gradually an increasing volume and clarity from the back. What has that been? What are you doing? Edgar! Edgar, by the Reaper's Eye, I shall have your head. What have they done? And then a small figure pops out from the side of the carriage from a door that you definitely didn't see. As it pops down, swinging on a hinge with stairs, part of it, almost like a jet's steps that fold down with the door. And a gnome trundles down from within. She is finely dressed, wearing kind of like a worker's outfit, almost like leather breeches, suspenders, and a working kind of canvas top, covered in soot stains, but all still a very fine make. And she has some goggles on over her head that she has just taken off, and there is an imprint around her eyes where the goggles were. What's this then? Well, now, she hops down and then takes out a monocle and screws it into one eye. The monocle has a kind of jade green lens, and she looks over the lot of you. Unfold yourselves then.
Good evening. So you guys ahead.
Oh, thank you, Esther. So generous. Good eve, young.
Is it? I do think me it has gotten much less good as of the last, I don't know, 18 seconds.
Oh, I do like you.
You have some work to do to convince me that it's worth me doing the same. Speak.
We must solve a series of riddles to save the world, and we believe you are a vital component in solving at least one of said riddles.
Edgar, run these lot over. And she goes back to the carriage and starts walking up the steps. Edgar looks, presumably, Edgar, the hooded figure, turns, looks back, and begins to take the reins to give them again.
Do any of the horses look... How do the horses look? Do they look tired, injured?
They don't look injured or tired. They look terrified. They have eyes bulging wide. They are like still sort of stamping irritably and trying to sort of move backwards or side to side, but they're restrained, and they're like looking around, fits and starts, all sorts of places in the mist, not just at where you might be.
I crack out my thorn whip and wrap it around him and pull him off.
Pull what off?
The guy riding the horses.
Edgar?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a spell attack roll with Thorn Whip. So roll a d20 and add your spell attack, which I believe is what, maybe like a +8?
So no, the mist is gonna Thorn Whip us back.
16. Okay, that is a hit. Xander, what does it look like when you cast Thorn Whip?
My crooked little hand comes out from underneath my cloaks, and then just as I do that, it's like a vine that looks like a vine from a rose, just covered in tiny thorns, just goes round and around and around and around, and then just retracts back, which is how he gets pulling off the horse.
Yep, so on a hit, there's damage, and the target is pulled up to 10 feet, I believe. So roll your damage, which I believe is a d6 piercing damage. Is that right for Thorn Whip?
Your memories for numbers is crazy.
1789, Germany.
So close. 1872.
18.
3, okay. Xander summons this rosy, thorny vine that comes like flying outward at speed, and the figure Edgar seems totally caught off guard. It wraps around him and then pulls him off of the front stoop of this carriage, and he still has the reins in his hands. So instead of yipping them, he basically like yanks them to the left as he goes flying. Do you want him to go the full 10 feet?
I want to pull him right up so his face is like there in front of mine.
Yeah, which you being low to the ground is going to be close to what happened. So he's going to hit the ground and then slide towards you, basically bound at the sides, lying on his side, dragging forward. So you'd be looking down and he'd be looking up kind of straight at you from there. And his hood comes off, which is when you would notice that Edgar's hood is not flesh, but metal and wood. His hood falls back, and you can see these panels finely shaped, just like human cheekbones, with grains of dark wood, and metal plates shaped perfectly, like a jaw and chin, and a strap of the jaw connecting to a skull. And in the dim lights coming from these dancing motes of light around the carriage, you can see the reflection, that dull, sheening metal. He silently pulls his hood back over his head and scuttles away, still down, but trying to kind of get up to his knees. What do you do?
I'm waiting for the lady to come back out yelling. I'm sure she will.
Mary Kay kind of half-heartedly calls after him. I have solved for that, but never mind.
Indeed. After a pause, the door has not quite been pulled shut behind the gnomish woman. She sticks her head back out.
We cannot let you leave.
But in a nice way.
My friend speaks the truth. We have a task to do, and you are part of that fulfillment. We can do it with your help or without it.
Is that the same sort of nice way you just helped Edgar off the carriage?
Yes, the same way you asked him to run me over.
Well, to be fair, I thought ours was rather nicer than that, but okay.
Turnabout's fair play, I do suppose me. Well then, up you pop, Edgar. Please, I'll thank you kindly not to lay a finger or thorn upon my Edgar, and I shall listen, though it pains me to be so treated by strangers in the mist, when I've business of mine own to be attending to. So what is this tale you have to tell?
I must congratulate you on a beautiful Edgar. Your skill and talent amaze me.
Xander, please. Such talk is insensitive. Edgar is his own person.
So he is. But you are not incorrect. He is also of my making.
Oh.
Isn't that right, Edgar? Go on then, you can speak for yourself. Edgar seems very hesitant to participate in what's happening here. He steps forward, slowly takes his hood back off. You can see the back of his head has been shaped and molded as though he has a full head of hair. Of course, it is not hair.
Can I say he takes his hood off and Damien is on his head?
Yeah, that checks out.
Just eating some bread.
Giant eyes looming from behind. Likewise,
Just eye
mirrored
contact with
in the
everyone.
mist. Yeah. Also, you definitely didn't see Damien get there. Edgar doesn't seem to have noticed he's there yet.
Mhm.
It's true. I am mine own. I hope you do not intend to do my mistress or myself injury.
Nay, we do not. We must solve a riddle, as my sister did say, and we need to do that on this eve.
So you're waylaying passers-by to ask them a riddle. None of you look quite like trolls, and I don't see a bridge. So what is it you expect us to be able to do for you?
Well, first of all, thank you for the compliment. My lack of troll-like appearance, I would say, is thanks in part to creme de peppermint. Now, Clyde the peppermint.
Boom, come trundling out of the suitcase, bearing 2 different rolled up bits of fabric. Clyde somehow makes it up to your shoulder using only his back feet. Unclear. And then it's just sitting there and then goes, "Thou needest the cream, and thou needest the peppermint." And then unfolding 2 of these rolled up fabrics, you can see that attached with little leather thongs along the way are many little vials, which each have sort of different colored unguents and salves in them. One of which is white with red layers in it to simulate stripes. He unflips one, puts it down, and then noses that one out so that it pops straight into your open palm below, and then scuttles back down to stand on the briefcase. Strike a pose.
Mary Kay hands it to the angry little one.
Well, while this is happening, Xander reaches into her pocket and starts throwing bones onto the ground because she's going to cast augury?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2nd level spell.
Yeah.
All right. What kind of bones does Xander have? I'm just curious.
They're like just rat bones with 1 human knuckle.
It would be quite conspicuous amongst the rat bones.
Yep.
All right. Now, augury allows you to get an omen from an otherworldly entity, wherever you find one of those, about the results of a specific course of action that you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. So I have a list of sort of results that I can give you based on you doing this. What I need you to do, Xander, is to cast this spell and name the specific course of action that you wish to augur, to know the fate of.
I wish to know what this creature needs to give us. Whether it be her destiny, or whether it be her hand or his hand, or or even if there is some sort of destiny that this creature has that is linked to the fog.
Okay. Now, with a more powerful version of this kind of spell, you might be able to ascertain something like this. You can change the way you ask this, though, to get the kind of answer you may need. So the different results I can give you for this are wheel for good results, woe for bad results, or wheel and woe for good and bad. So you can ask whether a particular kind of action will go well, basically.
Great. If we persuade her to give us
Edgar.
Edgar's hand, will that fulfill the fog's request?
All right. Now, normally, when you cast bones, and we're not just talking about like parlor tricks, reading
No.
people and trying to tell what they mean, which you can also do.
Yes.
This is when you do this spell, usually you receive a feeling and you cast your bones and you look over them. Their shape instantly, as per usual, sears into your mind. You could close your eyes and still see the shape. The bones themselves don't matter anymore. It's that shape. You can cast your mind back to your memory of the forms, the shape of luck, the lines of death and life, and pain, chaos, and order and joy. As Xander is doing this, however, the mist begins to move. Around all of you, it begins to swirl. The gnomish woman looks, but she's not looking closely enough. It doesn't seem like she can see this crazed swirl in the mist. She's looking as though she can hear something faintly out of the side of her ear, like she suspects something is different, but can't quite put her finger on it. But you all can clearly see flashes of blue and green light from the left and the right, closing and converging in on Xander as the mist, with a breath, fills Xander's nose. When you open your eyes, Xander, you don't see them in front of you anymore. This is more than just a feeling of joy or a feeling of sorrow. You can see Edgar, but manifest in green flame in front of you. You can see Edgar cock his head to the side, reach down to his own hand, and detach it, and then offer it. And when he does, you feel a surge of that joy again, that warmth and goodness. All is right, and the hand gleams with green fire, bright white green in front of you. And then the vision of that dissipates, and you can see the real Edgar, and the gnomish woman in the mist once more. What is it you've done then? What are the lot of you? Mages of some sort? I know your ilk. What have you done then with those bones?
I did read your future and your destiny, your past, present, and what you hope to achieve. And I also asked the very gods if there was something that you could give us to further our quest.
And what did the gods answer to you?
They said that if Edgar was to give us his hand, we could let thee freely pass.
His hand?
Like I said, these riddles are mysterious and somewhat cruel.
And what if he will not give you his hand?
Then we will unfortunately have to find another's.
Well, surely he knows it's kind to give strangers a hand. Clyde,
Mary
laugh
Kay.
at my joke.
Ha! 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 That's Clyde's laugh.
I hate it.
Maybe just don't have. They all have unsettling laughs.
It's almost as bad
that's
as
just the way.
Damien's.
You make that little joke, Mary Kay, but you do hear another laugh from the mist. Not Damien's this time. It's just a chuckle.
Mary Kay
one else
laughs
seems to
like
hear
she
it.
gets the joke.
Well then, if we don't give you Edgar's hand and go on our way, that's it for us then for the evening?
For the evening, yes. But of course, as with most mysterious things like this, it is not that simple. For tonight, perhaps you'll be fine, but from now on, we cannot guarantee that anyone in this region will be safe.
For the fog will take over the earth.
Dismissed.
Throw in some samples, though.
Yes, this mist, this uneasiness you feel will continue to grow, and many will die.
Edgar, how do you feel about everything we have said?
For you are your own person, are you not?
Aye. So, though strange it is to be my own person, and my memories of this world being but few, I do so myself understand to be. For I am as a newborn babe in many ways.
And as newborn as thou art, thou hast the freedom to do anything thou wishest to do. For example, you may pick up the slow loris on thine head and fling it as far as possible.
Oh! And he takes it up and is holding it, and Damien is just hanging there.
Damien doesn't care. Yeah.
Strange things this night I have seen.
Aye.
He doesn't give a full fling. He just sort of flicks Damien off, and Damien kind of lands easily over to the side. I do not understand the purpose for which you need my hand. I am loath to part with it. I do not wish for all to die, or for mist to o'ertake the earth.
Permit me if this is a rude question, but would it be possible for thee to receive a new hand after parting with one?
Oh, I know not. Mistress Elaine. And Elaine, the gnomish woman, turns and looks at him. Not without considerable time and expense on both of our parts. Such a thing requires great magic, skill.
Aye. And yet you have done it. You, a woman of considerable Mara. You help. My words have run.
I believe Xander is saying that you, a woman of considerable skill and expertise, doing such a miracle once, can do such a miracle again.
So I can. But Edgar may choose to give you his hand. That's his choice. He is his own man. But, well, if I am to replace what is lost, it will come to me at considerable cost. So,
Esther, in another life, in my real life, I am a baker, and I am good with my hands. If we survive this night, I promise to help you build a new hand for Edgar.
make a persuasion check. Sir.
Persuasion. Same thing as last time.
Mm-hmm.
While this is happening, Mary Kay, feeling like her potion, her peppermint cream didn't really do its job, she's gonna secretly cast distort value on the vial of peppermint.
I'm so glad we're getting to see this spell. Okay. You're over there casting Distort Value on this vial. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I'm assuming that there is someone who needs to make a saving throw against this spell, right? Are you going to offer it to Edgar or to Elaine?
It says anyone examining the object must roll an investigation check against your spell DC.
Okay. And your spell DC is what, like 14, 15?
Sure.
Look, it's on your character sheet on the third sheet, I think. It's at the top of the page.
That
Oh,
hand must be
15.
freely given.
15. All right. You cast your spell on the vial. Are you going to go re-offer it again to someone?
Yeah, she's gonna try and trade it to Edgar for the hand.
The hand must be freely given.
Esther, you rolled a 17.
Trade count?
Esther, you rolled a 17. All of this kerfuffle is happening behind you, and Elaine seems preoccupied, but is paying attention to you. Edgar is just staring at Mary Kay and Xander like, what are they talking about? But Elaine sort of like leans closer and steps closer to you, Esther. You do promise this. You will help.
And I promise that as an added benefit, we can take turns kicking a slow Loris down the street as many times as we wish.
That's a powerful bit of cruelty.
Not to
No,
him,
then.
it's not.
That green monocle that she screwed in earlier, a flash of light that is not reflecting any light that's actually around, crosses it. She looks at you, Esther, and looks out over the rest of you. And then her eyes widen almost enough for the monocle to fall out. She grabs it and then looks again. Well, now. If Edgar agrees to your terms for his own part, by which I mean he offers you his hand, he'll take nothing in return if that's what he wishes. But you, Esther, is it?
Aye.
You shall help me to make one anew.
Indeed I will.
Indeed I will. Indeed I will. Indeed I will. As though a hammer struck an anvil in a vast and echoey cave, those words repeat again, again, and again through the mist. Elaine screws that monocle back in. Well, Edgar, you've heard what's to happen. Are you feeling a surge of fellow feeling? Edgar is just looking at Xander and then looks up. What you have seen in those bones, or what all of you have seen of this mist. Have you seen what it will do? Do you know?
It said to us that it hungers in many forms.
Many will die. Witches have come here for centuries to ensure this does not happen. Your hand can help set it right.
You say many will die. An immense thunderclap shakes the mist, and a bolt of lightning strikes off to the side. One of the gnarled trees near the edge of the circle of the crossroads bursts into green fire. The horses start and begin to bolt before Edgar, still holding onto the reins, jumps and grabs them back, struggling with all his might to keep them in place. And when he does, He turns and says, Mistress Elaine, do as they have asked. I shall impart my hand to you. And then he holds a hand up and puts another hand to the wrist, clicks, and then pulls it free. And a long silver spike with several different grooves, like a key, emerges from the bottom of it. And the hand flexes several times and then goes inert. And he hands it out to you, Xander.
I do believe Mary Kay has a thank you.
Well, I did think mayhaps there was no need for it, seeing as Edgar had already handed it over.
Mary Kay.
Glad you didn't laugh at my joke. He begrudgingly hands it over.
You hand him some peppermint ointment.
Yeah.
Creamed peppermint. He takes it bemusedly.
But did she cast increased value? Or whatever?
Oh yeah. Well,
Maybe she
okay.
didn't. Maybe
No, you did. You did. You said you did. I'm happy for that to have happened. Edgar's gonna bemusedly have a look.
Yeah.
Edgar
It's fancy.
cocks his head to the side, then looks up. I did not ask for recompense, but truly, I think I shall find that I have received it in a strange way.
Well, I wouldn't be too fast. I mean, I said I'd give it to you, but not that I'd give it to you. That'd be 3 gold pieces, please.
Mary Kay.
Come on, 2 gold pieces.
Mary Kay.
Well, it's not like I'm asking him for an arm and a leg. God, you better laugh, so help me.
Edgar and Elaine begin to get back up into their carriage if no one is going to stop them. Edgar taking the reins with his one remaining hand. Elaine gets up onto the stair steps and looks back over you, and then eyes rest on Esther. Don't you forget the terms that we came to. I'll expect your
not.
aid.
And you
Very
shall
well
get
then.
it.
I'll find you. And then the doors come up of their own accord behind her as she walks. Then Edgar yips the horses, who are desperate to get moving, and they do at an almost too great of a canter. And their carriage disappears into the mist, the last traces of which are those dancing red and blue and amber lights. We are back. Welcome, everyone, to the back half of this Witchy One-Shot, Fair is Foul, for some Bardic Inspiration. We last left off with our witches having, it seems, completed 2/3 of their allotted tasks thus far. They were charged with 3 missions by the strange figure in the misty light. 1 hand freely given, 1 love newly lost, 1 destiny dearly bought. Now, for tracking, it seems that they have been freely given a hand, and it seems they took a relic of a love newly lost and an ox horn of poor Schubert. Rest in peace. And as Elaine, the gnomish woman of Elaine's Eclectiques, a traveling tinkerer of sorts, it seems, begins to drift off into the misty night with Edgar, her automaton companion, who seemed sentient and very much his own person, as Esther reassured him multiple times, are vanishing into the night, slightly lighter than how they arrived, only slightly. And so, the 4 of you and your familiar companions remain at the center of this triple crossroads as the mist swirls around you. It recedes slightly, ever so slightly. The mist is still there, but the thick walls of it that precluded your vision more than a few meters extend to just beyond the circle that is formed by these crossroads. And you can see that there are shapes that you might have missed as you walked up. The haft of many wooden staffs, or perhaps spears, emerge from the ground at intervals in the earthy spaces between the roads that extend in all directions. And you are, for the moment, alone at the center of those crossroads.
Mara. Do thou know if it's a destiny lost or a destiny bought?
A destiny dearly bought.
Dearly bought.
Yes. So some price needs to be paid. Is quite great.
Well, I do think that we have hit on something that works here with promising to farm out Esther for stuff later, so maybe we should just keep on doing that.
Okay. Okay, is it not thine own destiny to shill thy wares to any who pass by?
Well, I do not take kindly to the term shill, and I don't know if it be my destiny, but all I know is that I'm passionate about empowering people to empower themselves with good products.
Esther.
Yes, Xander.
Perhaps I was not Esther. Perhaps your destiny, your longing for bread, your longing to be away from your familiar, could be bought by a simple spell to give us your witchy powers.
Not if it means taking Damien.
No, please take Damien. He has been a blight on my life since I was young.
Not for a barrel full of rosehip tincture would I take that monster.
But were there a way for me to escape my destiny as a witch and become a normal baker, I would leap at the chance to do so.
I have another interpretation of that good question. A destiny dearly bought might be one that is livable, perhaps not dying, but dearly would be the price of your baking.
Well, if we're all sharing our interpretations.
Well, it is a good method of investigation, is it not?
I agree, Mara, and I think that yours was very insightful. However, mine is that we're going to meet a girl named Destiny, and we will buy her by trading a deer.
Oh, do go on, Mary Kay. It does not feel like you are digging a hole at all.
I think we trade a girl named Destiny for a deer named whatever, and that's how we solve it.
There is, it is as likely as any other, I suppose. And
Perhaps, Esther, I should read what your destiny will be.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Thou must. I do not know why me losing my life is the only possibility we've discussed. The three of you have rich inner lives as well, I presume.
Hopes or dreams.
Excuse me, that is not the only possibility we discussed. We also discussed finding a deer and trading it for a girl named Destiny.
Then let us procure a deer.
Are you reading some bones, Xander?
Yes.
Okay, burn that second level spell slot and tell me the course of action you're imagining that you wish to know Is it going to be weal or woe?
Is Esther going to be a baker?
So you're imagining Esther becoming a baker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You cast your bones and look at that shape. Very different this time. That human knuckle sits atop a heap of rat limbs and ribs, and it is cast into stark relief before that pile actually collapses under the weight of that human bone. Close your eyes and see it in stark relief again, glowing with green fire. What is to be? You sense an intense joy and longing. Weal. Goodness. And then that joy plummets, falls into the deepest and darkest of woes.
What did you see?
Future is unclear.
Guess we'll have to try again later.
At that point, a sound breaks the misty silence. Ho! What ho there? Hola! Hello! Hello, what ho there? Hola! Calls. Several different voices. Third path. Coming toward the center. There are dim halos of flickering torchlight coming from several figures. As they resolve a bit closer, they are likewise moving as though they cannot see where they are going. Slowly, their horses gingerly pawing their way forward, noses low, attempting to keep their eyes on the edges of the path. 3 horse-riding figures, one of which at the front is holding a torch aloft, and you can see the glittering, the flickering torchlight reflecting off of both a fine set of armor, but also silver scales. Is a dragonborn, someone of draconic lineage, tall and resplendent, and she is looking with furrowed brow out into the mist, unseeing, but peering nonetheless. She calls back to one of her companions who is emerging from the mist at the same time, as though they were in the middle of conversation before the shouting arose. She says, "Why, well, there is not for it, Nerida. I did say to you that there was no such creature that you saw. These are just shakes and phantoms in the wind. This foul eve is to blame." The other replies, "Why, 'tis certainly the most foul of eves I have ere before lain eyes upon. 'Tis worse than any I should hope to have caught myself in. I feel the very sea has risen to claim us. I do not trust the sea. Beltor, have we lost thee?" "No. Here I be. Here I be. Or is that there eastern sea?" And a larger form trundles behind them on a different horse, splitting the two, likewise bearing a torch.
Mara, I call out to them. Your voice is so much sweeter than mine.
Thank you, Xander. Dost thou all hail from the sea? Thou hast made many a mention of it in the most recent of thine conversation.
The 3 horses pull to a stop, and then torches move left and right. The Dragonborn speaks. "What art thou, that do speak from the fog? And what if we are of the sea?"
And it would be of curiosity to me, and nothing more. I am Mara, half-elf, and I too am lost in this mist. If thou comes forward, you will see me, I assure you.
looks back, gives a practice flick of her torch. Your torches flick in response. Begin to move forward. As they come closer, it's more evident that they are all three dressed in military regalia, armor, and the armor is tarnished and sullied by dirt, dented. They seem to have just been in a fight. They are begrimed with sweat and soot and dirt, and their horses likewise move with weariness and wariness.
Thou art most dishevelled. I'm sure that thou does not always appear in such a fashion. What has befallen thee?
You presume correctly, Mara. My name is Lady Sandra of House Macheath, steward of the Lower Daggers. And why is it that you have found yourself lost in this misty night?
As you are of the Macheaths, perhaps thou art aware of this night? Maybe not, for it is portentous once per year.
What tales do you speak of this night? 'Tis the 16th of Peas Blossom.
Indeed. 'Tis the first night of a new moon.
And then Nerida perks up. Why, yes, it is like the song, my lady. What are you speaking of, Nerida? What song? Oh, do you know the song? The newest of moons, oldest of dooms. Hast thou not it, my lady? Oh, it was. Oh, my Nan used to say it. In any case, it's ill luck.
It is definitely ill luck for us all to be here. But I must ask you all for your help.
Well then, perhaps we may be of service to each other. The three of us have hither come separate from our lot. Have you seen a worse for wear 2nd Cavalry Division coming through this way, resplendent in armor like ours, and likewise fatigued in the guise and threats of war?
I assure you I hath not, though it is misty.
It's
None
foul mist.
such have passed here.
Well, I know not how we are to be of service to thee. We cannot supply what you seek, and that is the way, for we have lost our own.
Well, that is not what we seek.
Well, then stand and unfold yourself, Mara, and perhaps we shall learn how we may be of service to each other.
Ask if they have a deer.
What was that?
Oh, 'twas one more. I am not alone.
Yes, we are sisters.
Swords half come out of sheaths from the two horses behind, and they all sort of immediately take a practice triangular formation. Lady Sandra's hand goes to her back, and you can see that she has an immense great axe strapped there.
I assure you 'tis not necessary. We will announce ourselves. Come forward, sisters.
Esther
I
comes forward.
unfold yourselves. Do you all come forward?
Yes. Esther comes forward holding a big roll of bread like a sword.
Xander comes forward, but of course Tony is still hiding, will not
Mhm.
appear until this is over. Good even, good soldiers. A destiny you have fulfilled on this eve?
'Tis a question strange, but not without its merit. Aye, we have let some meet their final ends this eve. For the invaders, these ants who crawl over the hills from Argesh, have fallen beneath our blades. And we do return conquerors, or at least victorious, if one can claim such a thing under the brute smiting axe of war. What know you of destiny, and why ask you such?
We have but one riddle to fulfill to stop the ever impending darkness from taking over this land. The riddle is such a destiny. Oh,
Dearly bought.
Yes, thank you, Mara. A destiny daily bought.
Destiny
and,
dearly
as,
bought.
and as such, would it be possible with some consensual payment that appeases both parties? Is it possible for us to take the credit for the battle that thou hast won?
What? What do you speak of, Esther?
This is we buy their destiny from them.
You cannot buy a destiny. Do you read any witch books at all?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, makes sense. Checks out.
Esther.
By the way, Mary Kay has not announced herself and is consorting with Clyde. They're hiding and they're having a chat.
Right. What thinkest thou of this? What are we to make of this and find destiny?
Is one of the royal? Are one of you destined to be a king or a queen?
I am a lady of House McHeath, but I am only the steward of the lower daggers. No thainship or under thainship awaiteth me. Mary Kay, it sounds like Clyde is whispering in your ear. Under thainship, under thainship.
I was
What?
in the middle talking to you.
Oh, I know. I did ask what I should do. How should we find this destiny upon them? They do look to be quite destined, although I know not for what What?
Have you even been listening to anything that I have been saying? Right now, like I was just saying, if we are to make a level 2 by next month, we need to sell out of our current stock.
Oh, now this is. I understand that our indicators have been low as of late, consistently from the other side. Under thainship. But I was just saying that I can do better on the flip in exchange for the peppermint. What?
Why are you whispering something about thainship?
Thainship? Why, I have no royal predilections. I am only a ferret.
Well, all right, Clyde. Well, I don't know what this is about, but frankly, between you and me, I don't think we're going to solve the third riddle. And if the world is going to end, I want it to end with me as a level 2. So it's time for Operation Medusa.
Medusa. You
That's
said we
right.
would never.
Well, we're doing it now. And she casts animate hair.
All right. Tell us what it
and,
looks like when Mary Kay casts animate hair.
Oh God, I don't even know. Let me check. But just so you know, her goal is to walk out and greet them with each tendril of hair holding a vial of goods or a sachet, and
Yeah,
to really display them and wow them.
Yeah, okay, it's a display
Yeah.
hair. Okay, so animate hair is one of the awesome new spells that Walrock Homebrew has created along with this class. And Mary Kay, your luscious dark hair unfolds itself, spooling strangely longer down to your
5
feet and
feet?
below. Yeah,
That's
not
5
touching the
feet?
ground though. Never touching the ground. It then wavers and moves, undulating, rather like Clyde moves, with that perfect serpentine grace that doesn't seem like it should be true. As Mary Kay emerges from the mist, you see first this extraordinary profile, shadow, like a strange octopus or kraken emerging from the darkness, and all the soldiers turn and the horses neigh and swords come out of scabbards and the great axe comes down in Lady Sundra's hand and she's ready to ditch the torch to begin to fight. And then Mary Kay appears. Yeah.
And Mary Kay is going to be doing some minor illusions to add to the effect.
Okay, like what?
Little fireworks and sparklers, etc.
Okay.
Going whole hog.
You do this, and the mist moves. As your hair emerges first, the mist parts to show you. And Mary Kay, with her vials out, is not simply Mary Kay. These sparks and plumes and other effects are coming, and the mist seems to absorb and amplify them. The sparks become gouts of flame and flares and bright expanses of starlight, like a galaxy itself expanding around. Mary Kay's eyes glow with a green flame, and the rest of her appears dark to accentuate it. Lady Sandra is transfixed, eyes wide, first stunned, and then in disbelief, and then in horror. How can you have returned? How? No, it cannot be. It cannot be. And she throws the torch down, and its light flickers in the muck. Her axe is in front of her, and the horse assumes an attitude prepared for war. The other two have drawn their swords and ditched their torchlights, but the light is not needed. There is ambient light in the mist, throwing everything into its shadows and appearances. And Lady Sandra points her axe towards you and says, I shall send thee back to the very field from which I just slew thee, creature. You've come from the mountains to taunt me again.
Honestly, there is no reason for this kind of jealousy. Because you see, for a mere 200 silvers, this could be yours.
What meanest thou, creature? What is this strange speech from the lot of thee, who speak and cry of destiny? Why, you have shown me the very past that I did now just leave. Speak!
But I don't know nothing about showing you the past. I was trying to show you the future of skincare.
And that voice echoes through the mist. Future of skincare, future of skincare, future of skincare, care. The magic of the mist begins to pull on you, Mary Kay. You, a mistress of illusions, feel your hands begin to warm. Magic of a magnitude you have never felt is at your fingertips. What would you like to show, Lady Sandra?
God, it's happening. Feel myself becoming a level 2.
What? I feel it too. I feel it too, mistress. What is this? What is this?
I'm ascending.
So what do you do, Mary Kay? What is it you want to show, Lady Sandra?
I think I'm gonna use thaumaturgy.
Yep.
To make my voice up to 3 times as loud.
Mm-hmm.
And say, Mary Kay Cosmetics is my name.
At that boom of your voice, so much louder than it's ever been, it echoes throughout the whole mist, not taking different voices, but yours, overpowering like thunder. The horses rear, and all 3 of them hold on for dear life, barely keeping their saddles. One of them drops the sword in their effort. And as they subdue their horses, you come forward, the wisps of this magic still unfurling off of you. Yes, Xander.
Do you have a Medusa's head in a bag?
Are you talking to me? Because I've only got cosmetics.
No.
The mist silences, and Lady Sandra turns and looks at you, Xander. How can you have known of this? What are you, creatures of the night? You who have first shown me mine own great fears and then named them as callously as the wind. Lady Sandra reaches back and touches a large satchel on one of her saddlebags that is dark at the bottom, damp, dripping.
Lady Sandra, we mean you no harm. We do just wish to put to bed this evil that lurks on this very eve, and we will need that head to succeed in our deed. Us four have been destined to be here on this very night, and we need that head to put everything right.
This head is going to bring me great favor at court. It is a sign truer than any battlefield report of the deed that has transpired this night. And then Nerida peeks around the corner and says, "It is true. We did see it. Why, my lady, with one swing of her great axe, did fell the creature's head from its neck, while so many did turn to stone around it. She did, as though a thing possessed, avert her eyes and backward swing, and still struck true."
A destiny you have dearly bought. And yet we need to take it from thee. But you may not need leave empty-handed. Dear sisters, do any of you possess a way to fake a head?
I could perhaps make one.
No.
Esther just very sadly takes some breads out of her bag and like,
Enough.
Is this okay?
Enough of this double and treble speak. Why, you have sought into the past and seen truth. Can you likewise into the future see?
Is she pointing a sword at me?
She has a great axe, still wet with monster blood.
Nay, sister, 'tis an axe.
Yeah, I do my vine. That hurts.
Are you trying to hit her with Thorn Whip?
No, I'm trying to take a weapon.
Okay. I'm gonna have to treat this as a called shot, which is more difficult. It's a much smaller target. It's going to add to the success level it would take to hit her, right? And you're trying to not hurt her, but take the weapon. So make your ranged spell attack as per usual, d20 plus 8. See what happens. $20 is a good shot. A very good shot. It is not quite good enough.
Come on.
She is wearing very nice armor and is a very seasoned soldier. You did not exceed the total that you needed to by enough of a margin to do something so fancy. But you do hit Lady Sandra with the Thorn Whip. Roll your damage.
It's actually 2d6.
Is it? Because you're at level 5. That's right.
Yes.
Memory's not so watertight after all. Let's see. I missed your roll. What was it?
7.
7 points of piercing damage as your vine emerges from your hand and wraps itself, going for that axe, but continuing past it just, and wrapping around her arm and shoulder and clinching through the plates of that armor, finding its interstices and drawing blood. Are you going to pull her off the horse as well?
I'm gonna try and pull myself up onto the horse.
Okay. Yeah, she is heavier than you, much heavier. Okay, so you can use this, the momentum of that pull to propel yourself forward. You want to land on the horse? I will need you to make an acrobatics check, please.
Yep, I want to land on the horse, and I'm trying to land sitting on her lap, facing her like that.
Okay, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. Let's see what you got.
Mary Kay's gonna try and help out by casting Cackle.
Very nice. Whom are you targeting with Cackle?
Can't I target everyone who hears me? Yeah.
What does the spell say?
You elicit a wicked cackle unnerving to those nearby. Each creature within range of you cannot target you with opportunity attacks for the duration and must succeed on a wisdom saving throw.
Okay,
Or
and what's the
take
range?
Perfect damage.
So
15.
it does not say each enemy creature.
Oh no!
Cackle is one of likewise these new great witch spells that we are
I
playing
really
with.
want to cast it, but I don't want to hurt my friend.
Mary Kay. What's Mary Kay's cackle like?
Wait, what's the setup? Who's within what?
Everyone is within range of you at the moment. Soldiers and your friends.
You look
Well, if
terrible.
I'm gonna do it, at least tell me, is Damien within range?
Yes.
Damien,
I
Mary
passed
Kay, is riding one of your hair tendrils
Uh-huh.
No!
and looking at you.
I shake him with it, and I use another one, drops the bottle it's holding, and slaps him.
Yep, okay. So you are using cackle. So everyone, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw against Mary Kay's save DC, which I believe is 15, did we say before?
That was the spell DC. Is that the same?
It's the same.
It sounds like this.
High pitched and terrifying. Mara, you succeed. Xander, you do not.
I was trying to help.
Yep. Esther, you succeed. Okay. Each creature within range that cannot. Yep. So roll 3d4, please. That is 8 points of psychic damage to those of you who failed. It does not say. Did it say half as much on a success? Some of them do, some of them don't.
No, but I should
Is,
have said what level I cast it at. I assume.
yes,
first.
we'll assume first level unless you tell me otherwise. So I will make a save for our watchers. That's a failure for Lady Sandra. A failure for Beltor.
Good. Shouldn't be beheading Medusas.
And
left
a
in
success for Nerida. So Nerida won't be hurt, but the other two will take that 7 points, was it, of damage?
8.
8 is correct. Okay.
Except I forgot to mention that I cackled away from Xander. It was like in a direction where it didn't hit Xander.
Well, it's within a 15-foot radius, so there's no directions here. So, yeah, that piercing, cackling laugh reverberates through the mist. The three, or two of the three soldiers, not Nerida, scream in pain and hold their hands to the sides of their ears, where a thin trickle of blood beginning to emerge and coat their hands. And their eyes open, and the sclera are entirely black. And the same is true for any of you who have been affected, as the horror of this laugh infiltrates your senses and hits more than your ears, it seems.
Okay.
It is not a great experience taking psychic damage. Just, yeah, that's what that's like. Okay. That cackle happens as our Xander is hurtling through the air via Thorn Whip. You do not land perfectly on the lap of Lady Sandra. You clang into the side of her breastplate, and then the two of you together go tumbling off of her horse from the impact. Now, you're not going to take damage, as it's not a very far fall, but you land in a heap down on the ground as Lady Sandra screams, and Beltor on the back of his horse is screaming as well. Damien, holding on to the hair next to you, eyes go big and fully black, and goes, "Ah!" and then vanishes. That is above, I believe, his hit point maximum as a slot.
Oh no, I
Is that
killed
right,
him.
Esther?
It probably is. Let's see. Yeah,
Take
his
the
HP is
normal.
5.
So, wait, is his normal HP 5?
5 and then 1d8 plus 1.
Okay, I see. So his normal hit points are 1d8 plus 1, and then 5 for your witch level? Is that what you were adding just then?
Oh, I'm actually not sure.
Okay.
Let's say 5.
Okay.
So he's dead.
So he disappears into inky blackness. And then
Mary
the
Kate.
mist around you turns black for a moment, swirling and then clearing. It is a mess. Mara, what are you doing during all of this? I saw you looked like you were about to say something.
Yeah, Mara's like, let's have a big sigh and goes to run and try and get the Medusa's head off the back of the horse.
Okay. All right then. You can go about doing that. I would say roll a sleight of hand, but it's just latched on there. It's not going to take it's not going to take anything but time. So you go over there to do that. Nerida sees you doing this, Mara, and sees all of this happening. And she is going to come with the sword and slash at you. Now, at this point, we are in combat or something like it. So unless one of you has something you're about to do that is going to end that situation, I'm going to need you to roll for initiative.
Woe to end the situation, Mary Kay goes, "Fine, everyone can have the samples."
I run up to Lady Sandra and I cast Cure Wounds on her.
Interesting. Okay. That'll be your thing to do. Is everyone rolling initiative?
But wait, do we have to roll initiative if we de-escalate?
The outcome of initiative might affect your ability to de-escalate. Initiative doesn't mean you must fight. It means the order of actions. Okay. Watching these totals come in.
Well,
Thanks to the miracle of Rollcast, I can watch them all in our little chat here. Okay. Pretty low rolls, except for Mara with a 21. Okay. Mara, you are going to, so you know what's up. The three of them are going to have a shared initiative,
whoa.
which is a natural 20.
Wow.
So that's what's up. And in fact, makes it a 22, which is just faster than you, Mara. So what is happening now is that Nerida is going to take a swing with a longsword at you, Mara. And I presume a 25 hits.
Sure does.
So, Mara, you are going to take 7 points of slashing damage as this longsword slices through you as you're trying to remove this Medusa's head. Now, you are next up in the initiative. Well, sorry, the other two have to act. So, Lady Sandra and Beltor are coming to their senses after taking this psychic damage. Lady Sandra, none too pleased with you, Xander, at the moment, is down on the ground next to you. So she is going to use half of her movement to stand, and then she is going to swing that great axe at you. It's not that. I'm assuming a 27 is going to hit. Yeah. That torch is on the ground. She is swinging with two hands. Oof, and you are going to take max damage, 17 points of slashing. Lady Sundra is a formidable warrior, and you are taking just full swing of this axe straight to you, and it hurts.
What have I done?
The blood spurts up from Xander's form, and the mist takes it.
No!
That fog condenses and takes those droplets, tainting its own coloration as a vortex of red mist begins to form overneath Xander. And that mist surrounds Lady Sundra as well, who is standing there holding that axe still and staring down. And her eyes take on that red. And she is going to swing at you again, Xander. Take her second attack. That's going to hit. A little better that time for you. 10 points of slashing damage this time.
Except Xander is dead.
How many hit points did Xander start out with?
34.
You have not taken 34 points of damage.
Didn't I take the psychic damage as well?
So you took 8 from that. Okay.
Yep.
So you hit 0?
-1.
Okay, well, you are unconscious. So Xander, lying there on the ground, takes 2 mighty swings of this great axe and lies still. The red aura that is surrounding in that mist becomes black. And for a moment, time slows. Lady Sundra still stands there, axe down on the ground, eyes red. Her silver scales covered in Xander's blood and her armor. The horses, mid-snarl, beginning to rear. And the mist forms a shape over Xander's apparently lifeless body. All of you, in this stillness, hear a voice. Destiny. And you see, in that blood-soaked mist, an image. It is Lady Sundra, standing before a throne, holding a snake's head in her hand. From that hand, the snake skull springs like a living snake and sinks its teeth into the side of a chair that is seated next to that throne, smaller and yet still glorious. And that serpent sinks its fangs into that seat, and the seat grows blackened, darkened as though it is a veiny, fleshy thing, poisoned, and it crumbles. And that blood resolves back into mist. Time reaccelerates. And Imbeltor, drawing his longsword, is closing in on you as well, Mara, and is going to attack. That's a hit, I believe. Unless you have some sort of reaction that I don't know about. Here comes Beltor. Okay, 4 points of slashing damage from the longsword. Now we come to Mara in the initiative order. They have done their things. What are you doing?
Okay. Can I get the head off? Well, yeah, just confused. Just so pick up the head with the action, and with a bonus action, we're going to Misty Step away.
You can do that. You can do that. That is an action to take the head, and a bonus action to cast that spell, Misty Step. And what an opportune place to cast it. Mara, as you cast that spell, normally your body turns into a kind of misty form contained within itself, and then disappears, reappearing in the place of your choice. But when you do that, you can see everything. Everything the mist touches. You are huge. You are massive. Meters and meters and meters across, maybe a mile, maybe miles across. You're touching leaves and sprigs of grass and screeching bats and birds flying through you. You can feel every blade of that grass, and you can feel all 6 of the diverging paths. Where do you want to go?
She wants to go. Where in relation to the center of the road, where is this all happening at the moment?
You're pretty close to the center of all that. That's where all the action is taking place.
Okay. She wants to go on the same road, but like the opposite side of the crossing. So she's
Okay.
like as far away as she is from the center now. She's just going to be that distance away.
Yep, you can get there. In fact, you can get much further if you wanted. You can feel that potential. But you appear out of the vision of the people, everyone except perhaps for your own comrades. You are there holding that head and gradually, slower than usual, reforming to your corporal form out of that mist. Next up, let's see. We've got Xander, and then Esther and Mary Kay. What is Xander? Well, Xander, make a death saving throw for me, please. That is a failure. Please mark 1 failed death save. Or just remember you're at 1 fail. Okay. Thank you. Xander. It's not just rolls of dice for you, the inky blackness that has taken you. You see something, like a dream, at the edge of awareness where you now reside. There is a lady wearing humble, homespun brown robes. At her side is a pure white cat and a big black dog and 1 red raven perched on her shoulders. She looks down at you, and her face changes. The graying hair at her temples disappears, her skin moves, and suddenly she is bone white with ink black eyes, and her hair is likewise a lustrous inky black, darker than midnight, reflecting no light. Beautiful and terrible. She whispers as she leans forward. Have you paid your price? Do you know my name? It shall burn your tongue when you speak it, speak it, speak it. Next up, Esther.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Esther is gonna run over and sort of reach over the horse that Xander and Sandra just fell out of. And Esther is gonna cast Cure Wounds on Sandra and say, "My lady, I do not blame thee."
Roll your D8 plus your intelligence modifier.
Esther's not great with intelligence modifier.
It is your spellcasting ability.
Not sure I'm bad at creating characters by hand. So that would be +3. Yay!
5 points of damage healed back up to Lady Sandra. You see, as your hand touches her bleeding and battered form, Her eyes, maddened and red, turn to look at you. And gold tendrils of light tinge the mist that surrounds. The air suddenly smells of fresh baked bread. Sweet almost, wholesome, warm. That kind of like perfect, wholesome smell. And the redness of her eyes changes, replaced for a moment by that flash of gold. The blood near her ears evaporates. She shakes her head. What is the meaning of this?
Do I have time to respond?
You can speak back.
We are in a place of foul magics that only grow fouler unless we do something.
Lady Sandra puts her great axe on Xander's neck, then looks at you, and looks up at Mara. Oh, looks for Mara, can't see her. Looks to Mary Kay. Does she speak for you?
You asking me?
Yep.
Wow. Yes, she speaks for me and much better than me.
Yes.
Foul deeds to foul deeds misgive. I have tasted the joy of wrath enough this eve for a lifetime. I will remove this creature's head from its shoulders if you stir. Let us pass.
You may, but you will need this.
Do you return with the head in the satchel?
Yeah.
She takes it. So strange an eve I have yet to live in all my days. Strange and stranger still. She hooks the satchel back to its place. Keeps the axe in her hand. She looks like she's ready to mount her horse. There is more than this. Some foul agent hath set you on me. Some agent hath confused your course. I know not where it leads.
Then I think best you choose your paths wisely. For if you found yourself upon here, on this place, upon this night, then you will find yourself in many such a portentous place. And I believe you have many roads you can choose which one to go down, to make a wise choice.
Make a persuasion check with advantage, Mara.
While she's doing that, can Mary Kay give a potion of healing to Xander? She had one in her case.
Mm-hmm. We'll see how this goes.
Oh.
So that's a 17 plus 4, which is a 21. Make a wise choice. It's your voice that the mist takes. Not echoing and distorting, but just repeating. Make a wise choice. The last blood red rage in Lady Sundra's eyes fades. She takes the satchel back from the horse. She picks the great axe up from Xander's neck, which allows you, Mary Kay, to get closer and administer your potion. You can roll, I believe you can look at the description, but it's either 2d4s or 1d8, something like that, plus your modifier.
Mary Kay, perhaps we should let destiny take its course with Xander. If she wills to be back, I'm sure she will. But this is a destiny dearly paid.
It's what Xander would have wanted.
Surely 'tis not too late to find a deer.
Xander, make a death saving throw.
Oh!
I really thought that was going to be a 1 just then. I really thought it was. That is your second failure. Yep. Now, enough time to equate to a round had passed just then. That's why Xander made another death save. Xander has still not had any hit points added, so is still unconscious. Lady Sundra has taken that bag, looks down at Xander. Mary Kay, to your eye, the bag gleams, bright with a green flame. She holds out the bag, drops it to the ground.
At the same time, Mary Kay drops the healing potion vial.
The mist thickens on the ground in both places. In both, a great gout of green flame rises. There is a momentary hiss of a vial breaking, and a dozen hisses, like snakes breathing their last. Xander, make a death saving throw for me.
Oh, what?
The fires burst into green light, and Xander gasps. You're at 1 hit point.
Should we just punch her in the face?
Enough.
Lady Sundra looks wide-eyed down at the goblin that she has just butchered. Breathing, gasping for life. Looks at the scorch marks in the ground where the green flame took the potion and took the head. Looks up to you all. I have seen more this night of greater weight than I e'er thought to contemplate. So Nerida, Beltor, to me and right. And let us hope that the wisest path does not from us hide. She kicks her steed, and all three gallop away, just past your heaving body, Xander. The ground shakes. You are in so great pain, greater than anything you have ever felt in your life. Your vision throbs. The mist seems to cloy at you with its cold, damp fingers, every touch accentuating the bleeding, heaving gouges that cover you, where that axe nearly cleft you to pieces. Yeah, I think you're muted, Xander.
Fire takes the horn in the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got the horn.
Do you have a hand as well?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is the snake head gone? The witch's head, or is it?
It is. It is gone.
Mist, I call thee by thy name. Come and take thy prizes and tell us whether or not we have collected them correctly.
Put them on the ground.
Thank you, Thunder.
You place these gifts on the ground, and the mist condenses, and a form strides forth from it. Child of night, you have not by my true name now height. If you had, this would be an altogether different kind of fright. Your gift here given. A hand freely given. The little white cat comes forward, takes the hand from the ground, trots away into the mist. One love newly lost. The big black dog comes forward, picks up the ox horn. You can swear for a moment that it winks, trots off into the mist. One destiny dearly bought. Xander, you feel as though bony hands have just grabbed your heart. She reaches out a hand, clenches. You feel it surge through your body. The complete and utter control. The squeeze, as though she could snuff out your life. Your name is one I soon again shall call. She opens her hand. You feel release, but not full release. An extra pressure that wasn't there before. A little harder each beat. Well then, sisters of the night, it seems you have gifted aright. And so the mist another year hath bought by these workings your hands have wrought. The mist begins to swirl. Those hafts of spears begin to sway in the ground. You could swear you hear cries, discomfort and pain. But as quickly as they come, they are gone again, and the mist dissipates. Just a normal fog, about waist high, slowly drifting as the wind blows. Esther, it's about this time you might notice something strange. Your arm feels different. You look down where your left hand was. A hand of gleaming metal and wood.
I thought it was going to be Damien.
I thought it was going to be bread.
It seamlessly blends with your wrist, and you can move it and feel it. But it is not your old hand.
I do not understand, but I can still bake. I got what I asked for.
And so, as the mist dissipates, you are here, mostly alive, mostly well. The night lies before you, but minutes more, because in the east, which happens to be the direction that a certain silver dragonborn rode off, the sun begins to rise. And that is where we will bring an end to our first Witchy one shot. Nicely done, everybody.
Just for the canon, Mary Kay gives up multi-level marketing,
the true horror.
but she will start selling Cutco knives.
That is it for our first Witchy One-Shot. Fair is Foul. I hope you have enjoyed watching them play with this amazing homebrew witch class as much as I have watching them play with it. That is it. You've done your gifts. You have abated the mist. I was genuinely not sure you were going to for a moment at the end. Next week we shall return.
Just letting you know too, Tony comes out and is like, yeah, we did a good job.
Tony.
And Damien
Tony.
stays dead.
Yeah.
Damien has to get called back.
I don't think Esther
Damien
will
got
ever
murked.
call Damien
Yeah.
back.
That's the thing. You never know. Damien has his uses. Bread doesn't bake itself, Esther. Next week, come back for a new cast of witches with a new challenge. We'll play D&D in Shakespearean style for our second installment, Foul is Fair. Come check them out same time next week. You can also follow our doings here on our YouTube channel if you subscribe for Bardic Inspiration. And you can likewise follow us on both Twitter and TikTok at Bardic_inspo, and join our mailing list at soothplayers.com. All of those links are down below in the video description. I should close, as we always do, by thanking our technomancer in residence, Matt Day, who designed this slick platform rollcast that allows us to roll dice together. I should also thank and double thank Wallrock Homebrew for creating this amazing class and the new spells that we're getting to play with. I love them so much. You should, if you are at all keen, check them out on DM's Guild. It is $5 to buy this, which is, I mean, honestly, it's a steal at a much greater price. Please go check that out and follow them on Twitter at Wallrock Homebrew. And you can find their blog by the same name as well. And thanks to all of you who have joined us this evening to watch, or if you're joining us later in the spooky season, we thank you for that. And thank you to the players for mucking in and indulging this long-running desire of mine to have you all be witches. We'll close, as we always do, by echoing Master Shakespeare and saying thanks, more thanks. Have a good spooky night.